And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Whew. We have returned. Hope you enjoyed that very short break as we continue with our night of StarCraft. We are halfway through. We just wrapped up with 3 best of 3s, and we have another 3 up ahead of us, starting with Reynor versus MaxPax. Here we go. And just quickly double checking here, and I believe this is going to be another winners match. So both players have 2 wins under their belts. The winner of this series will advance on to the playoffs. The loser will have to play again in a couple of days in round 5. So no one is being eliminated, but one player will advance on. Here we go. Vetoes are done. Pretty standard vetoes overall. Going to be getting into Hard-Lead, Oceanborn, and Hecate as our 3 maps of choice. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on how you think this series will unfold. It's going to be an interesting one. And yo, we can talk about it as we do get in. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hard-Lead, we have Reynor for Basilisk. And in the bottom right, we have his opponent for Psystorm. It is MaxPax. Here we go. Reynor, of course, once again going for a 15-15. We've spoken about this, but Reynor, he's very fond of this opener against Terran, Zerg, and Protoss. Does whip it out more often than not. And with this, he's going to be able to get his expansion on location without being delayed, without being disturbed by that scouting probe. But again, if you're in the chat, predictions are open for another minute or so, so best of luck with your Gamba. Best of luck. Meanwhile, when it comes to the history between these 2 players, it's pretty back and forth, to be honest. It's pretty back and forth overall. Slightly favored by MaxPax, actually. MaxPax, he is slightly favored here in this series. But what's important is that these 2 are facing off for the first time this year. For the first time in 2024, they're going to be facing off here in Masters Coliseum. I'm here for it. I am ready for it. Give us some ZvP action. Here we go. Now, what I will say is that we have seen MaxPax struggle a little bit when it comes to more aggressive Zerg players. Traditionally, a player like Dark, I would say, and Reynor can be quite aggressive himself in this matchup. I say that. I do know that Reynor has been trying to reform himself. He has been speaking up a lot about how he's been going for these more longer macro games. He's been trying to refine his macro overall over the past year of play. So we'll see who that does favor. We'll see how this series does play out. For now, it's going to be a gate expand into the Cybercore standard opener out of MaxPax. Likewise, Reynor getting into his 15-15. Nothing wild to begin with. What I'm curious about is the tech of choice. Now, recently we have been casting a lot of MaxPax versus Dark, for example, and MaxPax has been very aggressive with Glaive Adept play, as have a lot of Protoss players, to be fair. Hero, Classic, they've also been embracing the Glaive Adepts as well. So we'll see if MaxPax does decide to whip that out against Reynor. Likewise to Dark. But now going to be a Stargate opener. Now, this could be Stargate opener into Oracles, could be into Void Ray. A Void Ray based opener would be designed to deny scouting and keep the tech hidden as to what comes next. I imagine, though, based on the rally, this is going to be an Oracle. We'll see. As the rally is going to be across the map, should be Oracle first. An Oracle opener would lead into a faster 3rd base, just triple Oracle into a 3rd, into a standard game. And there it is, the Oracle is on the horizon. So everything is looking by the book here from MaxPax. Looking very meta. Likewise, Reynor, he's getting into delayed link speed. That's the downside of a 15-15. For those that are curious, is you get faster queens, you're a little bit greedier just droning, and you delay your gases. So late link speed here out of Reynor, working towards his 3rd. But again, link speed isn't the most important of upgrades in the early game. As the Oracle has right, we're going to be focusing on denying this Overlord Scout. Going to be forcing it back. 3rd base is soon to be on the way. Everything is still looking normal. I mean, sure, we're shutting down the Overlord, that is true, but outside of that, still looking like a normal game from MaxPax. But of course, Reynor doesn't know that. So the Overlord is going to take a couple of extra hits before eventually going down. Oh, uno más! One more shot as both Oracles are moving out. Again, 2 Oracles do one-shot drones, so they do pose a massive threat to the mineral lines here of Reynor. Now, Reynor, he did see the Oracle ahead of time, so he's fully aware he has to be in position, and he will rotate over. so far as Queens are keeping up. The Overlord was hunted down. And Reynor is going to a fast Evo Chamber. Let's go. Fast Evo Chamber should be leading into fast +1 melee. As the Oracles do slip in. So far, good move. We go for the Queen. The Queen is left exposed, and one Queen goes down. Nice pickup here from MaxPax. Meanwhile, behind this, do you see what I see? I see a Twilight Council. I see additional gateways. I do not see a Forge. Oh boy, so this could be a couple of different things. Okay, there we go. Forge is on the way. Delayed Forge out of MaxPax. This could be Blink. This could be leading into a pretty strong Blink timing with an abundance of Stalkers. We'll see. We'll keep our eye on him, and there we go. We have Blink on the way. Again, the Forge is delayed here. Typically, the Forge is lined up with the Twilight Council. But MaxPax has Forge on that. As it ups a shade into the mineral line, but Lings, they are in position. Good Evo Chamber blocked there by Reynor. He will shut down those adepts. Doesn't lose too many more workers. Good defense so far. There's that +1 melee on the way that we spoke about for Reynor. So he's going to be going, I imagine, for a Lingbane Roach Ravager. A Baneliness is on the way. I don't see the Roach Warren yet, though. Interesting. I'll be honest, I haven't seen a player go Lingbane Hydra in quite some time. I'm curious if that's on the table for Reynor. I am curious. So now the Oracles are being as active as possible. Max actually just getting his third base up and running. Outside of killing a Queen, he hasn't really done too much to the economy of Reynor yet. Not yet. As the Stalkers are moving out, fourth base immediately on the way. And there's that Roach Warren for Reynor. Okay, just a pretty late Roach Warren, 6 minutes here. So quite greedy from Reynor. But he is going to be able to get away with it. Getting his Roach Warren, getting his Infestation Bit up and running as well. Going to be rushing towards that hive. We're just taking up and getting into the mid-game. And again, Reynor, he can afford to take up in this kind of direction, in this manner. Drone up as well, just because MaxPax is taking a fourth. As MaxPax clears up a lot of creep, Reynor is getting ready for a Ling counterattack. Overlord's going to be knocked down. Balings are on the way. Ooh, and they are barely out of vision, barely out of range of that Oracle. MaxPax does not see, does not know. But again, a really tech-heavy style. From here, MaxPax, he throws down a second Forge and a Bay. This confirms that MaxPax, he's just going to be turtling. Like, he's just going to be chilling here on 4 bases. He is being active with these Stalkers. I appreciate his activity here with this army, but he isn't going for a major push. Again, his goal is just to harass, just to clear up creep. At the same time, they're betting several in. The probes! The probes, they do stack up. 11 probes go down. Big connections there from Reynor. Very strong start here. Again, MaxPax, he was focusing on building himself up on 4 bases, on getting into double Colossus production, double road production even, if at all possible, but losing 11 probes does slow him down. There we go. There's that first Colossus on the way. Extend Thermal Lance, +1 armor, +2 attack. Again, MaxPax, he's just building up all these upgrades, kind of working towards that mid-game. He can't really do anything right now. He has Stalkers, yes, but that's all he has, which means Reynor, he's free to drone. He deals a big blow to the economy of MaxPax, and Reynor, he's free to expand, drone up, tech up. Hive is on the way, about to finish up as well, to get into Vipers. And you can see here, MaxPax is just completely walling off. He walls off at his third. Stalker does get caught out. Ooh, a second Stalker goes down as well. Bit of a delayed blink from MaxPax. Does escape with most of his army. And again, as MaxPax is building up, again, Reynor, he's kind of beating him to the chase. He's beating him to Hive Tech. Now, what I will say, though, is that I was expecting Reynor to already throw down a Hydroden. I believe there is no Hydroden yet. I would have loved to have seen Reynor not just rush into Hive, but rush into Lurkers. But that is not the case here. He has Hive, he has Vipers, but he's sticking with Lingbane Roach Ravager. Bold move out of Reynor. Is going to be a bold move. Meanwhile, Prism slips into the main base. Zealots are going to be warped in. At the same time, the first Colossus has arrived. We can, of course, apply pressure to the front lines. And we're going to be able to trade. Just trade, though, with these Lings. We don't manage to get any workers. +3 melee on the way. Reynor still committed to Ling Bane. And we have our tech of choice. This makes sense, especially because we haven't seen a Viper yet. Sorry, we haven't seen a Hydra yet. Hydra Den specifically. Ultras. It is not going to be Lurkers. It's going to be Ling Bane Roach Ravager into Ultra tech. Let's go. Now, there's some upsides and downsides to this. Obviously, Ultras are very expensive. They take quite a lot to invest into. But Ling Bane Ultra, this kind of army composition that Reynor's going for, is ideal when it comes to trading, when it comes to these kind of engagements with the main army. Pushing into entrenched siege lines, into shield batteries, cannons, the defensive position, stasis traps, against that, less so. So if MaxPax does decide to turtle and rush into Skytoss, Reynor won't really be able to touch him. Which should be what we're seeing here. For now, it's still more Colossi and Storm. We haven't really taken our first steps into Skytoss yet, but it's going to be on the table soon for MaxPax. Especially once he sees those Ultras. For now, there's the second robo. Second robo was a little bit delayed. We're just still fortifying ourselves on 4 bases. Taking the 5th is going to be a big moment for MaxPax as well. Bane rolls on forward. So far, unable to engage. Ooh, Reynor, though, setting up a massive counterattack. Massive run by. There is a stasis on the high ground, and up! Oh my god. We're dribbling on forward. We shut down a lot of these lanes. So far, good movement here out of MaxPax. Good defense. 5th base is on the way. There's going to be a big power spike for MaxPax if he can get this up and running. We're getting into double robo, double immortal production. This will help against those Ultras. And MaxPax is maxing out. He's getting there. Meanwhile, Reynor still just building up his own Ultra army. Kindness plating just finished. He's now going to be working on Ultra speed. We are getting there. Banelings, oh, they run into the brick wall. They run into a wall that is those cannons. Sorry, those gateways. And there it is. Double Stargate Fleet Beacon. Now, we could have gone in this direction a little bit sooner, but MaxPax just wanted to be safe. Wanted to be safe and sound. And again, Skytoss is on the horizon. At the same time, Reynor also throws down the Spire. So, we're in for a long one. I mentioned before that, again, Ultras do have a really hard time pushing into these defensive positions and the defensive lines. So, I don't really see Reynor breaking MaxPax anytime soon. And again, MaxPax is not interested in pushing out. You can see here, he's just throwing down more cannons, more shield batteries. Like, MaxPax is turtling. Which is, again, why I'm not really in love with the Ultras. Because I guess the Ultras are forcing out Skytoss, but I feel like that was already going to happen anyway. So, it's a pretty big investment here from Reynor. A big investment that hasn't really paid off. And the problem as well is that Reynor has to get rid of them. Like, they are hurting him more than anything at the moment, just because that's a free up supply. I mean, I guess the Roaches are doing that more than the Ultras. So Reynor, he has to eventually refine this army and trade out a lot of the Roach Ravager to get into Corruptors. Now, Reynor just testing the waters. Let's take quite a bit of damage. Again, he shouldn't be committing here. If he did, he would lose a lot of his army. And I did just say that he wants to trade. That is true, but again, trade is like the key word there. He doesn't want to throw everything away. Big Scout does catch an Immortal, and he did confirm the Skytoss on the way. Banelings, they roll in. They do not get into the mineral line. So far, MaxPax doing a good job at holding on. His Forge was contaminated for a moment, but does finish up, and again, not the most impactful contaminations there. So we have our carriers on the way. Likewise, Reynor working towards his Spire, working towards his Greater Spire. We should soon be seeing a second Spire to get into double upgrades. Likewise, Reynor should be expanding. This is the one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about. Reynor has had map control for quite a long time. Like the past 5, maybe even more than that, maybe 6-7 minutes. Like, Reynor has been in control. We need more expansions. We need more bases. We need to just engulf the map in creep and engulf the map in hatcheries before MaxPax can take another base. And before he can get into Skytoss. I mean, as I say that, the economy is strong here for Reynor, don't get me wrong, but again, we need to take control of the map here before MaxPax can start moving out. We go Roach run by on the left-hand side, Ultra's threatening the right. It's going to be on MaxPax to split up his army. We're going to be able to pick up a couple of pylons here and there. See MaxPax just trading out some of these Stalkers. Broodlord's going to be on the way for Reynor. Working towards Broods. There's that second Spire that we spoke about for double upgrades. We're getting there. MaxPax, he still has the bank. He still has quite a lot going his way here. There it is. The 6th Nexus. Reynor cannot just let MaxPax expand and take that 6th base. It's on the way. Not up and running yet. The pressure is on Reynor. That's the thing, like, MaxPax, he can just chill. Like, he's also scouting, like, with his War Prism drop as well. He sees that these quarter bases haven't been taken by Reynor. Like, MaxPax isn't really under any pressure at the moment. He's chilling. The pressure's on the Zerg player instead. Like, MaxPax, he's just chilling. He's working on his death ball of an army on the ideal Sky Toss. At the same time, the Corruptor count is, sorry, the Broodlord count is getting quite high. Ooh, and here we go. MaxPax starting to push out. That's a lot of Broods, though. I want to say 6? 6 Broodlords? 3, 6, 8. 8 Broodlords here for Reynor. Corruptors are on the way. 1-1 on the horizon. The upgrades are less than ideal for Reynor, is what I will say, but overall his composition is really coming together, especially after losing all those Roaches. Viper's going to be coming in clutch as well. See how the armies do engage here. When it comes to MaxPax's support, remember, he has Storm and a lot of High Templar. A lot of feedbacks are available. The Mothership skirting around the edge of the map. We can go for the recall. MaxPax being a little bit cheeky here. Mailings roll in, but they get shut down by the Storms. The Ultras are breaking through, though. At the same time, the Corruptors are looking for the Skytoss army, but they do not come across the carriers. And MaxPax, he does hold. Reynor looking for a way in. Now, he did break through a lot of the site defense, and it has to be replaced. We need more cannons and shield batteries, otherwise Reynor can get into the mineral line. At the same time, we might be overextending. Good feedbacks. Good feedbacks on those Vipers. Stay strapped on the Lings. Mothership dipping in between the bases here. Reynor, he sees, he knows. He's going for his own counterattack with Ultras. He catches a couple of Archons. Corruptors are on the way. It looks like the Mothership is going to be shut down. Now, MaxPax knows that the Corruptors are out of position. We do deny the 6th base. Big pickoff. Big pickoff there for Reynor, getting the Mothership and the 6th Nexus. At the same time, top right is going to go down. So both players lose their bases. But that was a good moment for Reynor. That was a good trade. Meanwhile, you can see that we're refining our army, getting into more Corruptors. Infestors on the way for Fungals. Ooh, the Ultras are caught out. Oof. Yeah, 2 Ultras going to be going down here, basically for free. At the same time, the Corruptors getting ready for their dive. Here come the Storms. Oh! First Storm does connect. The Ultras, they collapse here on the High Templar, and MaxPax has overextended. They're pushing far too much on creep. Every High Templar goes down. And we are being forced further and further back into a corner. We collapse on the army and barely take down one of those units. Barely take down another Archon. The carriers do survive. That was a big blow to MaxPax's army, though. And just like that, MaxPax, he's denied that Nexus again for a 2nd time. He has to rebuild his High Templar, build up that energy again, because he lost every single High Templar there. Reynor still has to take top right, but he does catch a mineral line. Those cannons, they were rebuilt. We spoke about it. Those cannons, they were still not rebuilt. There was an opening. 31 probes go down. A massive blow to the economy. This is what Reynor has been needing. For the past 10 minutes, we've been trying to break the defenses of MaxPax. We shut down a base and we cripple the economy. 31 probes, that is not insignificant. A lot of damage was dealt. Reynor now in the driver's seat, pushing forward with this Spore Forest. Broodlord shutting down these cannons. And MaxPax is in a lot of trouble. What do we need here? Tempest would be ideal against the Broods. We're going to Void Ray instead. I mean, Void Rays will help against the Corruptors. Void Rays and Archons. We have invested quite a lot into these carriers instead. And we push in. Plus Veins on the way. MaxPax down to 49 probes. And again, the reality is that, honestly, all that Reynor has to do is deny the base. Just deny the sink over and over again. He gets in, he shuts down more static defense. Again, if those cannons are not rebuilt, then we can go for another bailing run by. The Corruptors do dive in, they catch a carrier. And the Broodlords, they're working their way through the bases as well. MaxPax may just be all in at this point. Yes, he does have a bank, but a Protoss army takes a long time to rebuild if we do lose too much too quickly. Yeah, we're pushing out, so we always have a recall. Bear that in mind. There's always a recall to evacuate. MaxPax, he catches some ultras. That's a lot of carriers. This is terrifying. This army is insane. A lot of carriers, a lot of DPS. What do we need here? We need like an ideal power bomb here on the army. Need to be able to avoid those Archons. Good feedbacks overall. Storms as well. The ultras, they get taken down. No more ultras, and MaxPax is just forcing his way in between the bases, and Reynor, he cannot engage. He cannot push in. We have some big power bombs for the splits. Do split against the power bombs, and MaxPax, he is snowballing out of control here. We have 14 more Corruptors on the way. Is it enough? We're trying to break through. And we focus out. 1, 2, 3 carriers go down. The Void Rays come in, but it looks like we have far too many Corruptors. As we bring down every single carrier. There's 3 carriers left. 3, 2, soon to be 1, soon to be none here. Reynor, he cleans everything up. Again, MaxPax was all in. A GG gets called, and Reynor will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, another battle of attrition here between our two players, where MaxPax was turtling up and he was trying to take that sick base for quite some time, and we spoke about it. Reynor, he just had to make sure that that sick base never got up and running. He was there time and time again to deny it. Not just that, but he also was able to cripple the economy as well for MaxPax. And eventually, as we saw towards the end there, MaxPax was forced all in. He was forced all in. He knew that he just could not take his sick base anymore. He knew that he was too far behind in the economy. It was all or nothing. All or nothing for MaxPax. And he was fighting well. He was fighting well, but we had reinforcements on the way. Like, we had 14 Corruptors in production. Reynor had a bank. He could remax again and again. That's how much money he had. And with that, Reynor takes the first game. Takes the first game here. Now, winding back, there were a couple of really rough moments. I do think that a big moment that swung things in favor of Reynor before the Bailing run-by was when MaxPax was caught in the center of the map on the right-hand side. If you remember, when he pushed out with his carriers as he was taking his 6th base, that was the moment where he lost a lot of momentum, he lost a lot of his army, and Reynor was able to capitalize on that very quickly. Again, it's a very slow, methodical playstyle that MaxPax was going for, and you have to pick and choose your battles wisely. It can be very risky to move out. Very risky indeed. As we're getting ready for game number 2, Oceanborn. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player for Basilisk, Reynor. And in the bottom right, we have his opponent, we have the Danish Protoss for Psystorm, MaxPax. Here we go. Here we go. As we are settling into this. what's happening in the chat? Oh my god. As for now, we are just going for our hatch first. It's going to be hatch gas pool here from Reynor. I believe this time not going for a 15-15. Likewise, MaxPax is going to be settling into this game as well. I see in the chat, why do pros use so many cannons? But noob advice here is about limiting site defense. I think a lot of people did respond in the chat, but yeah, as I'm sure is being echoed in the chat, basically site defense is pretty crucial when it comes to the late game. The big reason for that is because the Protoss army, the late game Protoss army is very immobile. As you saw, right? Like the Skytoss, outside of recalls, of course, which can help you if you're a little bit too spread thin and being pulled apart, you do have to rely on site defense, not just to deflect these counterattacks, but also to give you time to respond, to warp in, to rotate around, to keep up with the movement of the Zerg player. That's the advantage of the Zerg player, is their mobility. So that is why when it comes to late game PvZ, you do see like these walls of cannons, these walls of shield batteries as well. More often than not, it is just to buy time. Definitely. And as a result, as we saw, like if you do forget to throw down and rebuild those cannons and shield batteries after they get knocked down, then you do leave yourself open and exposed to run-bys, which is how we saw so many probes go down. That's how those Banelings got in, is when those cannons did get knocked down at that center base, they weren't rebuilt, and that was an opening for Reynor to take advantage of. Was an opening. But for now, here we go. We're getting into our next game, into game number 2. And so far, the openers have been pretty standard. That's why I could pay attention to chat for a moment. Just because it's been hatch gas spool into a third base, like a standard opener from Reynor. Likewise, it is a gate expand into the Cybercore from MaxPax. Our tech of choice is a Stargate, as to be expected. Going to be a Stargate opener, and we'll see what our first unit of choice is going to be, whether it's an Oracle or a Void Ray. And let's go, we're splicing it up. Void Ray first. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. Void Ray first here from MaxPax. Now, with this Void Ray, the goal here is to shut down the Overlords. It's to shut down the detection, to shut down any kind of scouting opportunities from the Zerg player, and to keep the tech hidden. Now, the question becomes, are we hiding anything? We don't have to, but we could. This could just be a Void Ray into an Oracle, into a third base, right? Into a standard game. Or we could be hiding our follow-up tech, which could be a Twilight Council without a Forge, could be Glaive Adepts, it could be a second Stargate and double Void Ray into Skytoss, it could be a Twilight Council into a Robo into a Charge all-in. There's a lot on the table here for MaxPax. Now, this Link Scout is important. We do get eyes on the third. So Reynor, he knows that it's still going to be economic. It's still a third base. Things are looking normal, but he still doesn't know what's coming up next. There it is! He doesn't know what's coming up next, and it is going to be Skytoss. 2 more Stargates get thrown down. Skytoss is upon us. And again, this is something viable that you can do. Because this Void Ray opener, Reynor has no idea what is going on. It is very common to go into Glaive Adepts behind this. Instead here, we're rushing into Skytoss. Now, I assumed that this might be Mass Void Ray, but as we can see, it's going to be Mass Phoenix. 3 Stargate production here. Mass Phoenix on the horizon for MaxPax. And this, of course, can shut down Overlords, can shut down Queens, can cripple the economy, can pick off any kind of high-tech units. Behind this, we should be having, like, charge loss to support this, to kind of inject our mineral income. That's typically where things go. Maybe Charge Lord Archon. Dark Templar, quite common with this. We'll see what direction MaxPax goes in. And again, Reynor still has to piece this together. He still has to figure out what exactly is going on. Things do dip in. They do get eyes on the saturation. The Adept's going to be moving out. Running a shade into that natural. To threaten that shade. And it looks like we're going to be able to collapse on these Adepts. Good pick off here by Reynor. Very nicely done. We'll shut down those Adepts. As so far, the Phoenixes have yet to be revealed. We have not shown them yet, as we are just building them up here on 2 bases. And there we go. Phoenixes now move out. Reynor has eyes on this. He does pull back. We have Queens on the way. We should be seeing Spores as well. There we go. The first wave of Spores on the way. But we need time. We do need time here. The Queens do amass together. So far, Phoenix is not really achieving too much damage. They do delay the 4th. Nice pick off there by MaxPax, but we need more. Again, this was a big investment into Phoenixes. And this should be forcing a Hydra transition. As we do catch an Overlord, we get in between the bases. Go straight for the main. But again, too many queens here. We're ready for this. And so far, Reynor, he's handling this very well. I spoke too soon. We go for the queens, and we do pick them up. It looks like one queen goes down, but only one. One queen, 3 workers. Honestly, this isn't too bad so far by Reynor, and he's going for an all-in. Oh my god. He's going for an all-in. We have a Nidus on the way. We're amassing roaches and queens. If we wanted a longer game, we would have seen a Hydra Den, but there is no Hydra Den whatsoever. Reynor, he wants to go for the kill. He wants to go for the throne. He is aware that right now the ground army for MaxPax is non-existent. There's almost nothing on the ground. We just now have double Robo and a Twilight Council on the way, and a Forge as well. MaxPax, he's taking up so hard, he just saw the Nidus Worm. Big scout. Big scout there by MaxPax. That's why he starts up Void Rays. Void Rays are on the way. He is fanning out his units. He's looking for the Nidus Worm, and he does come across it. Pieces, they race back home. And Reynor's droning. When I say he makes one drone. We're committing. The queens are going to be popping out, and the Nidus does survive. Just a little bit longer. How good are the transfuse? Ooh, as MaxPax is camping this Nidus Worm. But it's not going to be enough. The queens, they do force back the army. One Void Ray did go down. And Reynor is committing. He's still making more roaches behind this. He is not saturating his bases. He is taking a 4th, but he's still very committed. That's a lot of Ravagers. I'm loving the addition of the Ravagers. It means that if we ever try to pick up units with the Phoenixes, we can file them down. File down the Phoenixes, I mean. As they will also be stationary. Okay, we're making 2 Immortals at a time. Can we hold? Can we hold on here? Lyle's once again going to be zoning back the army. Reynor waddling in towards that 3rd. One cannon does fall. And we need as much stack defense as possible here to survive. MaxPax is in a lot of trouble right now, but as time goes on, things are looking better and better for MaxPax. That Immortal Cannon is getting insane, and there we go. More cannons, more shield batteries on the way. MaxPax taking this all in very seriously. Spores are finishing up. The creep is spreading. There it is, additional Immortals on the way. Where's the overcharge? The Immortal! The Immortal is going to be saved by that overcharge. Bile's going to be raining down on the army. They bring down a cannon. They bring down some of these Void Rays as well. As we are slowly encroaching on this big pickups though. Oh my god, so many Ravagers get lifted. Every Ravager gets lifted. And it looks like MaxPax, he can barely break through. Can he though? We're running out of lifts. We're running out of lifts. We're running out of Phoenixes. Running out of Void Rays. But the Immortals, they are standing strong. As I say that, no more energy. The shield batteries, they are tapped out of energy. No more overcharge as well. And Reynor, it looks like he has broken through the defenses. He's broken through the line of Immortals. Every Immortal has fallen. We have one more Immortal coming in. Reynor not slowing down. Still rallying everything across the map. As we take stock here, again, the shield batteries are out of energy. We still need a little bit more time for an overcharge. There it is. We have the overcharge. Oh, barely keeping the army going. Additional Immortals are on the way as well. MaxPax trying to fight this back. Phoenix is doing what they can. But yeah, Reynor, he just doesn't care. He just collapses on the army itself. He collapses on the 3rd base. If he wanted to, he could ignore the army and go for the mineral line, but he wants the kill. Good kiting out of Reynor. Picks off more Zealots. And these Immortals are so exposed. We just can pick them off one after the other. 2 more go down. And MaxPax, he has been broken at this point. Like, even if Reynor only kills the 3rd and backs off, that is enough damage. As the 3rd is compromised. Zealots, they're coming into support. They're getting damage done. They're doing what they can. But again, the rally is too much. GG gets called. We run out of steam. And Reynor able to pull off the all-in, able to punish the Mass Phoenix of MaxPax. GG. GG, well played. A very tense series there, but congratulations to Reynor as he will be advancing on. Reynor, he will be qualifying and making it into the playoffs of Masters Coliseum. MaxPax is going to be knocked down to round 5 to another group stage match. So MaxPax is not out of the tournament, but he does have to fight for one more playoff spot. GG, well played there by Reynor. Again, I was really impressed by his reactions, his ability to defend against the Mass Phoenix. Remember, the Phoenixes initially didn't really do too much damage. They killed an Overlord, they killed 3 drones, and 1 Queen. That is all they did. And immediately, Reynor, upon recognizing that he had defended and deflected, Nidus on the way, the all-in behind it, all or nothing for Reynor, 68 workers, 4 bases full of larva, that's all he had, just sent it across the map. And MaxPax just was not able to fortify himself in time. In the end, his investment into all those Phoenixes wasn't worth it. As I pointed out, because he dealt so little damage, because he got so little value, it was a big investment that hurt him more than anything. That's why Reynor was able to pull off that all-in, because all those Phoenixes, again, that was just so much resources invested that didn't really help out there. And with that, GG. We have 2 series left. We're going to be going on a short break. When we return, Oliveira versus Classic. We'll see you soon.